the UK Thrashers radio show. This is episode 24. Tonight's guest is Novichok, but before that, here's Solitary.
Right, we're going to do one that you may know. Well, hopefully you do anyway. It's been on telly a few times. This is Keep Your Enemies Closer!
That was Solitary for Keep Your Enemies Closer, taken from the I Promise to Thrash Forever album. Okay, next up is a Northeast band who we had on the show a few weeks ago. This is Yersin and Northern Stronghold. Next up is our interview. Say hello to Novichok. Okay, this week in the virtual studio, we'd like to welcome Northeast Thrashers Novichok. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey.
Okay, do you want to introduce yourselves and anyone who's missing?
So I'm Phil, I play guitar.
I'm Ryan, I'm the drummer.
I'm Rick, I play guitar.
Yep, John, bass.
We're currently missing our singer, Rich.
Yep.
God bless his soul.
Hey, this is a treat then. As the front man, you guys, without him, you'll actually get a word in edgeways for a change.
Yeah.
Right. So, if people haven't heard the Novichok sound, describe yourselves. What do you do?
I'll have a go. So, think about thrash metal and the most diverse origins for anything thrash metal. We just do it all together and see what comes out. Classics, new stuff, bit of a growl going on. That's about it, 4, 5 different jams all at once, really.
So, how long have you guys been together? When did you form?
It probably would have been about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Me and Rick had been talking about doing it for a good couple of months, and then we just got a practice in. Just decided to do a few covers, and then kind of started doing original stuff after that. It kind of just went from there.
Go on, sorry, mate.
It goes back a long time. So when Phil and I go out drinking, this has been going for probably 10 years. We've always been saying we should really get a band together. We've been in bands before, and eventually we did it. Took us only a long time.
So on that note, what are the bands you've been in, and what are the always thrash, or have you done lots of other stuff as well?
But before this, I was in a grindcore band called Rat Face Bastard. Before that, I was in another sort of thrash stroke hardcore band called Nails of Christ. Got featured in Terrorizer a couple of times. Got featured on one of the CDs. So yeah, it was pretty good. But hadn't done anything for a while. After the grindcore band, things just disintegrated. So out in the wilderness for a while. But I had been in another band doing some thrash stuff with lad that we share the rehearsal rooms that we have now. They're in a Slayer tribute band called Live Undead. So me and the guitarist were in a thrash band, and that one came to an end. So when Rick and Phil were gonna do something, Mick had chucked my name in, and so we took it from there. What about the rest of you, Rick? What about your background?
So, as you can tell from my Geordie accent, I was born in North Italy, and but actually it's 23 years ago. Shows my age. I used to be in a band that toured with Biohazard and the Beastie Boys, and it was the sort of new hardcore in the late 90s, and we did a couple of albums through Sony Music, and we didn't have a skilled enough drummer to play thrash metal or anything like that, but we did pretty well. And it ended when I moved to the UK 20 years ago, and I've been practicing and jamming with people down south. And then when I moved to Newcastle, I eventually got together with a couple of members of Venom and jammed with them for a while, but nothing came of it. And eventually, when I went abroad again, I went to Singapore and then Dubai. And when I came back, I said, this is it. This is my last chance to play some proper music. Let's get together. And that's history.
So I'm glad I didn't make an ass of myself and ask you why a lad with a Welsh accent was living in Newcastle, but that was a good news.
Dig well. I normally get South African.
Phil, what about you, mate?
Yeah, again, I went a long time without actually being in a band, but I was in a band with a few friends, talking maybe 7 or 8 years ago now. It wasn't really thrash, but it was kind of just like heavy kind of rock music, which was good. But then I say like that kind of just fizzled out. Like I say, it was a good few years, and then obviously when I got talking to Rick, we decided we were going to do this. So it's great because that's obviously the stuff that I really like now. So it's great to get back into it.
Excellent. John?
Yeah, same sort of thing, really. Just ironically, the one type of music that I love the most is the one that I've never really done, to be honest. This is the first time I've actually done the sort of music that I really love. So it's in a few bands that played American style punk and stuff like that. But and I was in a Metallica tribute for a little while, which got some great gigs out of it, and it was a good laugh. It was good fun, but not the same playing covers. You don't get the same buzz because you think somebody comes out, tells you afterwards you've played Creeping Death great. You think, well, but it's a great song to start with. I haven't really, watched it. You know what I mean? So Yeah, this is the first time I've actually done a band that I can honestly say is the stuff that I really enjoy, the stuff I love.
Brilliant. So the name, obviously, at the bearing in mind when you formed the name Novichok has got some pretty serious connotations. It's worked for other bands, Anthrax have been through that that whole situation. Is it that simple? It's a cool word and a cool name, and you thought it kind of sits. Who came up with the name in the end?
That was Rick.
It's me, but that's because there was a drunken banter in our favorite rock bar. And we were looking at, the band wasn't supposed to have a name because we were playing some covers to begin with, and we can tell you what covers these are. But then this whole thing in Salisbury was going on, and why the hell don't we call it Novichok? It's perfect. It's a bit like between Nuclear Assault and Anthrax, and it's got some proper cash lyrics. Things are going on, and people would know what that is. That was that. There were other names, but that once that was spoken, there's no other way.
It's a proper thrash band name, isn't it? You could look back 30 years and you wouldn't be surprised. It just sits there, right? And what about the little character that comes with it? Who came up with your little gas mask wearing, PPE guy? Although I guess that's more like you at work now, Ryan. You look more like your own logo than.
He's a friend of the band. Actually, he's a good friend of the band, and he's a graphic designer by trade. So we just asked him to came up with the logo, and he did the mask sort of off his own bat, really. We just said, wanted it to be sort of spiky and nuclear assaulty and that sort of stuff. And he came up with the gas mask off his own back, so we loved it.
So on that, you kind of touched on a couple of bands there. What about those kind of influences? What's the big couple of bands that you guys are really into? What you have to pick a couple from the across the decades of thrash. What would they be?
Shall we go one each?
Yeah, go for it.
We're all going to say the same one.
I'll say Exodus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
I always loved Megadeth myself. It's one of my favourites.
And what about closer to home? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the UK stuff was really good. It's it's kind of.
Look,
I think you had to be there at the time, really. But
there you go. See, Solitary, phenomenal band.
Yeah, it's probably the same ones most people would say. Your Acid Rains, and one of my favourites was always Slammer. Lawnmower Death and guys like that, really. It was a pretty good scene, to be fair. Zentrix.
When did you kind of hit the scene? What were the big bands when you kind of arrived, or did you arrive and then move backwards and forwards at the same time?
I remember my cousin gave us a tape of an Iron Maiden album in about 1988. Just I was going up to high school, and then pretty quickly after it was the big four, Metallica and Slayer, and then just all followed after that, basically Exodus, Testament, all that stuff. So it was all late 80s, really.
Same for me. I remember buying as a kid, just because I liked the cover, the State of Euphoria from Anthrax and cassettes. And since then, Anthrax were probably my main thrash band, and then all the other ones came together. Suicidal Tendencies, due to skateboarding and all the rest of it. But yeah, those bands were very popular in Italy. Clash of the Titans is probably one of the first memories that I have about a proper thrash metal. I didn't go, but all my mates, my older brothers' mates went. So yeah,
you kind of lived it vicariously.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So at the moment you've got, I think it's just the 4 tracks from the kind of the initial EP, which kind of features Cease and Desist and kind of all those things. What's next? Have you guys got albums, more EP singles? What's the plan for getting more tunes out there?
Yeah, we're going to do something else again. We're talking about going in pretty soon, actually. Probably be after New Year now, but we've got about 10, 11 original tunes written. So we had a few before the ones on the EP, and then we've come up with another 4 or 5 since. So we've got a couple a couple of brand new ones that we're pretty chuffed with. So we want to get in and do them if we can pretty soon.
You kind of dropped a couple of teasers, haven't you? You've kind of released a couple of tracks with no vocals, a couple of other little snippets. Is that, especially I guess boredom during lockdown and stuff? Have you found it quite a nice way to keep people interested in the band? Is kind of dropping these little teasers for what you're getting up to, or is it just kind of letting it free a little bit?
Yeah, a bit of both. Just sort of, because as well, people forget. You build up a head of steam. You do some gigs. Well, we had another few planned. Obviously, then this comes along, and for 6 months, nobody's hearing much from you. So you just think, well, we'll drip a few things out just so that people remember. People, keep your name out there and that. So
it's also a sense check of we record these for ourselves, really, to see the look and feel of the song, and is that about right or not? And then we're not. It is what it is. We just push it out, good or bad. It's good to get some feedback.
Yeah, so you're not particularly going out there to get validation. It's okay. It's just, as I say, it's just nice to rehear it in a slightly different way. Have you changed your approach? Do you all still you kind of jam and play new stuff yourself? Who's the mastermind behind the new tracks? Do you start with a riff? Do you start with a vocal, or is it a bit of a melting pot?
It depends, because sometimes we come up with riffs and then we try them together. But there are some songs where there's 4 different writing influences. 4 riffs come from 4 different people. Other times they're just from one, but there isn't a structure. There isn't a plan behind it. That's why it's fun, and we like to keep it that way.
And what about kind of lyrics and song content? Is there a theme that runs through it all, or so is there a theme that runs through it, or is it just you're quite happy to have standalone songs about topics that you kind of get into?
Yeah, we're not quite at the level of doing a concept album yet, like Maiden. The 7th son of a. No, but
I like the fact you use the word "yet" in there, though. They say that always opens.
You never know. You never know. But no, we're not going to do one about lockdown, that's for sure. But it's funny because it's lyrics are all a mashup of different times. I wrote a couple. Rich wrote a couple, but they're all we don't talk to each other and expect this is going to talk about. We don't have a plan for now. So that's John wrote the lyrics for one. So it's all very democratic.
Yeah.
Obviously, the northeast scene is kind of pretty strong at the moment. You've got some great venues, a lot of bands. Obviously, our mate Scarred by Truth. I interviewed Yersin the other day, and he reeled off a ton of names that some of the bands I'd never even heard of. Syntheta, which is obviously Acid Rain, Mark's other band. Is the scene in the northeast as strong as it seems to us outsiders? Is it kind of does it feel like you're part of a big scene up there, and things are looking good for underground music in the northeast?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, you've obviously got all the bands you mentioned there. There's a few more, and everybody just because it's not like a big city like Manchester or Liverpool or what have you. We've only got a handful of venues that put stuff like this on, so everybody tends to kind of watch everyone else, whoever's playing, you get a lot of local bands supporting the likes of Annihilator and people like that. So whenever anybody's playing, they always tend to be watching other people. You'd be doing a gig in Trillions and you can see a handful of people that are in other bands watching. So it's pretty kind of cozy, but it's a good thing, I think, because everybody's kind of forced to watch each other, even if you don't want to, really. So, but yeah, there's some really good stuff, actually. Really good bands.
And what about branching further afield? You mentioned Manchester there. Are you going to kind of hopefully head west at some point along the and kind of do Manchester? Because obviously the scene over there is pretty brilliant at the moment. So, other than Scotland, I think it's probably one of the best places in the country at the minute.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing, really. There's no pressure on this thing. It's not like this record deal or going for a big, international tour support or anything. We just sort of look at whatever opportunities crop up, and if we can do them, we do them. Yeah. So we'd love to, yeah.
It'd be good to play a big festival. We were competing to get onto Bloodstock 2020 and have gotten further than probably we thought we would. And then they cancelled the whole thing. So we're going to have a look again.
So was that this year's? That was this year's Battle to the Masses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got through. What do you get through the first heats, and then it all got cancelled?
Pretty much, yeah.
So do you know where that leaves you for next year? Have you got automatic play? Are you automatically into the next round, or are they going to make you start from scratch?
No idea. It's probably going to start from scratch, I would have thought. But they said they might have try and bump people that won the heat up, but I don't see it. Yeah, it's just I don't mind paying again anyway.
There's an extra day this year as well, though, isn't there? So there's obviously an opportunity maybe to get some more bands on over the weekend.
Yeah, we love to play it. I love Bloodstock. I go every year. I've been every year for almost the last decade. It's just a really really cool vibe.
So where's your local Metal to the Masses heats? Is that in Trillions?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's our home turf. Even one of the beer taps has got a Novichok sticker on it, so it's
Novichok Real Ale. That's perfect.
Poisonous, but
I was going to say, you feel a bit queasy. Don't sit on a park bench afterwards. Yeah. So you kind of touched on there. You got some new songs you want to record. I take it you're looking at hopefully a full length album. Is that the plan? And what do you do? Are you kind of home recorders? Are you going into the studio, or a mix of both? How do you plan on doing it? And what about the kind of the tech side of it? Are you self mastering, or are you going to send that off to some wizard on the computer to finish it all off nicely for you?
I prefer the studio personally. I mean, I don't know if anybody's a particular hot shot in the band on that sort of stuff. I don't know about it yet. So
they've kept it fucking quiet.
Exactly, yeah. So I like the way these things sound when they're done in the studio as well. I mean, some home recorded things sound good, but I like the sound of a studio, to be honest. So
and then there's the other thing. If you go in studio, for us, we're not professionals. We don't get paid for this. It's a fun experience to do, isn't it? It's just an event. You go into studio, you feel like you're doing something artistic and valuable, even if it's your own cash. It's your gigs money paying for it. But it's fun. It makes it, it gives it it's a bit more tangible. If you know what I mean, a bit more official.
So you're planning on going somewhere exotic? I've just been listening to Rob Halford's audiobook when he talked about recording in Ibiza and Jamaica and things like that. Obviously, as you've been, as you're all multi-millionaires in your spare time, you'll be going somewhere nice to record it.
Biker, I think.
Sunny Biker Grove. That's where we went last time. I went to Blast Studios. We got a really good deal. We went in for the 2 days, and it wasn't much more than going to like the bog standard basement studio that like every band will do like a weekend demo with. And for a bit extra money, you can go to where Twisted Sister did the Christmas album, and where Therapy have done a lot of albums, where like Take That will choose to like drop in when they're on tour and they want to record something.
Yeah, great studio,
yeah, very good.
Does that make it feel, as you were just saying then, it feels a bit more of an event, being in a kind of, having a place like that with a bit of heritage rather than someone's basement covered in egg cups is a bit more of a, as you say, makes it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, I've done all of them, so it's nice to go in and go, yeah, this is proper. This this is fucking real proper.
This is what happens when you play in a quality thrash band rather than a dirty grindcore band. You see, you don't have to play in basements. So what about the other side of it? You know, I take it you get, like, when you go into the studio, like, that you get an engineer to work with you, that you're on the studio engineer. What about mastering and all that sort of stuff? Will they you go external for that, or you kind of I guess that's to be decided at the minute.
So the last time we used the same guy who did the recording. He did the mix, and he sort of took it on as a challenge. He's not a specialist in thrash metal or anything like that, but he's got a good ear, and we gave him a couple of templates. It doesn't sound anything like that, but it sounds very good. So, you know, sometimes you're going to have to realize that you're not going to sound like what you want to sound, but you'll be happy anyway. You hit the bullseye in a different target, still the bullseye, sort of thing. But next time, I don't know. We haven't discussed.
And
I think. But
sorry,
if Andy Sneap is on furlough, we'll take him.
Yeah, well, Priest can't be playing live, so he might as well do something in his spare time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What about going a bit further afield? You know, we talked about popping over the country to Manchester. You kind of you got aspirations to kind of do a short run of UK dates, or, you know, get down to the big smoke and play London and things like that. Is there anywhere you really got on you'd really like to get, other than Bloodstock, of course?
Eventually, why not? It depends on who's doing what. It might be a bit difficult for us to do on our own, because we're all, you know, sort of family, employed, whatnot. Taking time off is hard. At the same time, with everything. But if there was a band that I'd like to have us on for a handful of dates, and it all lines up, I guess it would be very nice.
Yeah. I say, it's the cool thing is you can just take each opportunity as it comes up, basically, and if it works, you can do it. If it doesn't, it's no harm done, I suppose. But yeah, some great venues all around the country that we'd love to play, to be honest. So
yeah, and again, one thing we'd like to do, if there's an international band coming to Newcastle, sometimes they put on a local first band on. That would be a good place for us to be. So we've been trying that. Yeah. Now we got the reason to do the 4-track was also that establish something that can be given to people to listen to. So gives some credibility some tangibility to the whole band.
And talking about that, well, you know, I've had a chat with a few bands about this. Is the opportunity to be kind of local support still there? You know, a lot of bands seem to bring way too many support acts on the road, and it seems to shut out local bands a little bit. You know, I know you mentioned Annihilator. They were really good. They seemed to put on a local band everywhere they went. Obviously, the Riptide lads played in Manchester. Illyrian supported down in Wolverhampton, so they were really good at getting a local band on. But you know, is it a bit of a mix? Some come more banded, and some give people an opportunity.
Depends on the band, I suppose. I mean, you'd like to think so. It seems like certain venues, the more sort of small to medium-sized venues, those bands tend to do that. But I mean, obviously, maybe not so much at your academies or your arenas. Obviously, they know what they want, and they bring a package with them. But yeah, we've got some good venues here, like the Riverside and places like that. Yeah. Where the likes of Annihilator playing bands like that, and they tend to put local bands on. A lot of the local bands have supported somebody, haven't they? I mean, Killanova supported Lost Society, and Souls of Jack Ketch were on with somebody. I can't remember who that was.
Then,
but
yeah, Conan with Cavalieros, isn't it, as well?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I think it's there, but it's there up to a certain level, up to a certain point.
And
I think the bands obviously know what they want.
Being that the scene's so strong, I guess there's quite a jostle with everyone trying to get those slots as well. You know, it's you know, as you say, everyone's mates, but there comes a point it's like I fucking want to get that, and I'm going to use my sharp elbows to get ahead of you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what about the other side? What about local promoters and stuff? Is there a lot of people, you know, the unsung heroes that keeping the scene thriving? You know, getting the bands. You know, obviously at the moment everyone's fucked, but you know, are there people, you know, regularly churning out gigs, regularly trying to keep you know, give you guys an audience?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the venues like Think Tank. It's a sort of a small, charismatic venue. So yeah, they've got a Steve's doing that, isn't he, Ryan?
Yeah, Steve Jones, who used to manage Trillions. He's moved over, and he's working for Tokyo Industries now, and it's SSD that are the promoters, and they run Riverside there. They run Think Tank as well. Also do This Is Tomorrow Festival and loads of other stuff. So you know they're becoming the big boys of the Northeast now. SSD, you know, they do great. So and they do everything. You know, they do everything from like pop to like death metal. That they've had like Cattle Decapitation come in, and Suffocation, all that sort, and everything in between.
Pretty much got bands on every night of the week, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. And they've got like enough venues. I think Think Tank's like 250, 300. Riverside's 600-700.
Yeah,
got
so
digital. That'll do like, you know, up to 2,000.
Okay. So you got you know, every single level from a pub gig up to, you know, baby stadium. Like, yeah, not squat stadium, but you know,
much.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So if people want to kind of hear the band, kind of see what you're up to, where do people kind of find you online or on the social media channels and all that nonsense?
Mm. Well, we've got it all covered. So we have a YouTube channel, and all our songs are there in HD with a little video of the masked guy flickering over. And there's some gigs on there too. Then we have Twitter, Instagram, there's a Facebook page as well. So the usual channels, we're on it. Easy to find.
We're on Spotify as well. We've got the
Right. Yeah.
That was uploaded a year ago today or yesterday, wasn't it?
It is a year. Yeah.
Year today.
Wow.
Sure, so that.
Kind of forget, really. I mean, we've done quite a bit in a year compared to, I mean, when you think about it, actually, this whole thing was never supposed to really amount to anything, to be honest. It was never much more than just
five guys dicking about.
Talk about having a rehearsal, then we're doing some covers, and then we got sick of doing the covers. Rick started busting out a few riffs, and they turned into 2 songs, and then before we knew it, the guys in Live Undead were offering with support bands, support slots at a couple of gigs, and it's all snowballed, really. So in the space of a year, really, we've done quite a bit, to be honest. A lot more than we're planning on, so fingers crossed we'll get a bit busier again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about what could have been.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah.
So you guys donated a track to me last year, or this year now, still this year, for Moshin the Roof On. And I guess you can be my first reveal. You've also volunteered again for the 2021 edition.
Absolutely.
Yes, honoured to contribute.
No, really, really chuffed with that. I ended up posting Rick's copy about 15 times because it kept getting eaten by your dodgy northeast postman. I don't know where they kept sending it, but I think every one of your neighbours has got a free copy. But
We did, yeah. They love thrash metal, by the way. They hear it from me. Even if they don't.
So
it does now.
They've got no choice now. So any hints? What can I expect dropping into my inbox early next year from you? Am I getting something new? Am I getting something from the archives?
We're hoping to get in and do something new, but we're not sure if we'll be able to yet. So
if we can in time, Neil will send you a new one. That would be the best thing to do, because our style has evolved a little as well. So it's. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't gone prog. Is this why you were talking about doing a concept album a minute ago? Have you turned into Rush?
Rush.
Son of a seventh son.
Yeah. Hey, there'd be worse things to listen to than that.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. But, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll hopefully get in again not long after New Year, and hopefully we'll get a new one. But we'll have to see, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on the vaccine's coming, lads. We'll all be fine.
I know. Yeah.
As long as you're over 70. So just after.
Miles off.
Okay, finally, any shout outs, thanks, any other plugs you want to throw out there into Webland?
We're gonna have to start by thanking our mates in the best Slayer cover band there is in the world. You can't see Slayer anymore, but you can see Live and Dead. And our mad friend Mick, he's playing one of Jeff Animal's guitars live, and one of the guitars. So that's how serious they are about Slayer. So you need to follow them up. We share a room with them. So
featuring Mr. Stuart Dixon of Venom as well.
Oh, and Trillions. Trillions is our mothership.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. This is where we are longing to go back to as passengers and as musicians as well. Can't wait.
Frankie for all the graphics, all the design, all the work. Gordon did the photos for everything. Made it look half decent.
And you, Neil, mate, because you've been fantastic in promoting us and supporting us.
Oh, you're welcome. I love having you guys as part of the bigger family, and it's great to see you guys making friends with Mike and the Scar by Truth guys and everything else. And I think hopefully next year we can put some Mosh in the Roof on gigs alongside the albums. I fancy a UK tour, meeting up with all the bands wherever we go.
Brilliant.
I think the wife would kill me if I spent a couple of months on the road going to gigs, but it seems like a fair risk to take.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was totally. I think it was Mike from Scarred by Truth that mentioned that. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah. Yeah. That CD was it was great, actually, not just for the cause and all that, but I mean the bands that were on it. There wasn't normally when you get those compilation albums, there's a track or two where you think, oh, what the hell's this doing on here? But there wasn't a single dud on there, It was absolutely every one of them was great.
Yeah, and it's been amazing, how much some of those bands have come on, and we've ended up getting really good relationships with a lot of them. We get through that, I got the young lads in Steel Mage sent me through their advanced track, and which they're releasing in January, and so all that sort of stuff comes out of it. So it's good karma for trying to do something nice for someone else, and hopefully that goes back on all the bands as well.
I guess you've covered at least 3 generations too, isn't it? Musicians from the youngest to the oldest, easily.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. We had Dan and the guys in Hydra Vein. That was their track was a remix of their 1988, 89. You had the Solitary lads in the middle somewhere, 25 years deep, and then you had a load of 14-year-olds who were just branching out in their thrash group. So yeah, it was a great thing to be part of, and hopefully this year's will be just as successful, and we can make some more money, and hopefully people find their new favourite thrash bands.
And those young guys were great as well. A couple of the best ones on there were the Unburial ones and the Riptide ones. I mean, they're what, 18, 20, something like that. I mean,
it's these young kids have got so much fucking talent.
So the Riptide guys and Trillions, and one of the lads was wearing a Death T-shirt, and it's just great to see, an 18-year-old kid that's still digging that stuff and still wants to play that stuff. So, and they get it as well, they're not just trading off some cheap cover or rip off. They get it. They've tapped into the whole thing, and they're putting their own stuff out. It's great.
Yeah. The scene is probably as strong as it's been for 30 years.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, definitely.
guys, on that note, I will say my goodbyes. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to seeing what you guys do next, and hopefully I can get up close to your part of the world and see you live in the near future.
We can't wait to have you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thanks,
Fingers
guys.
crossed. Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, matey. See you soon. Cheers.
That's Novichok. Obviously, you got a sneak peek of something that's coming out very soon, which will be the announcements for our Moshin the Roof Bomb Volume 2. In the meantime, here's a single from their Vengeance Through Violence EP. This is the self-titled Novichok.
Novichok! Generous friends, time and command, but they excuse for a lie. You never got nowhere, roads blowing in bed. Terrible, better be yourself. Going for a pound, correct consumer sound. You gotta abuse the government. Forward crowds, even say you like it loud. Shoving your balls for tonight. Let's fire, but down the wall. Blast, future and past, it's a gunshot. We're down your throat, comes the antidote. Now, in the skies, Novichok. Novichok. Never ending crawl from the bottom of the ball. Something you can lose with any shit. You took the fight and tune, bang it, fix the next brew. He is with my metal all the time. Like a day back after years put off the track. Not the way where it should have been. It's never too late, boring like it's empty fate. Muscle with the tussle of the bed. Let's a fire, burn down the wall. Blast, future and past, it's a gun to shock. We're down your throat, comes the antidote. Hell in the skies, Novichok. Novichok. Down the wall. Blast, future and past, it's a gun shot. We're down your throat, comes the antidote. Hell in the skies, Novichok. Novichok.
That was our mate Novichok. We're going to finish off this episode from the northeast as well. Here is Scar by Truth. That was Scar by Truth and 666. This has been the UK Thrashers radio show. Thanks for listening as always. See you next week for a mega episode with Gama Bomb. And by the way, Neil Bolton, there's a big explosion at the end of this.